Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Saturday Night Live Show. This is episode number 31. Hope everybody's having a good evening tonight. Uh, Barry, did you want me to run through how to go to the website and all that like we do on the Hangouts?
Yeah, if you would like to do that, be
All
perfect,
right,
Johnny.
yeah. All right, well, since Barry said I could do that, I will do that. Uh, you can go to YouTubeModelBuilders.com to the website. There you can get the schedule for the Tuesday night presentations, the live show. Thursday night presentations are every Thursday, every week. And also, when JD and his crew put out the Emag, you can sign up for an email notification. You'll be notified by email. It's a PDF file which you can download on a wide range of platforms and be able to look at it at your leisure wherever you're at, stuck in traffic, sitting there in the ice patch or whatever. Uh, all our live shows are done at 9 o'clock Central Time, 10 o'clock Eastern Time. So be sure and check your time zone so you got the right time. If you're working or you missed the live show, it's not a problem. All you got to do is go to the YouTube channel, go to YouTube Model Builders, and there we have them all recorded, and they are in individual playlists, so you can find them with no problem and watch the shows and get caught up. I want to say hey to everybody in the Q&A, and now I'm going to turn it over because I'm doing the directing on the show tonight. If nobody has noticed, we had a little change up. Bill decided he'd do something a little different. He's taking on a new appearance tonight. He decided to go bald at the beginning of winter. So uh, let me get over here. So here he is, Mr. Barry Rosier. He's our host tonight. Hey, Barry, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Johnny. Thank you for that lovely intro. That was great. So, folks, good evening and welcome to the YouTube Model Builders live show for this Saturday, December 17th, the last show of the year for 2016. So, tonight we have a few members here of the YouTube Model Builders team. We're going to start to discuss about what we've worked on over the year and what's coming up for next year, because we have some interesting things we changing up a little bit. So I hope you all will enjoy it. So tonight, obviously, we have our guest director is Johnny Reb, aka Southeast Rails. We have our executive director of the Emag, JD, and we have my fellow tech show partner Andy Crawford, who also assists us with broadcasting shows occasionally. So we have a good piece of our team here to discuss what's going on for this year and what coming up and what happened last year. So, Johnny, why don't you give us a short summary of what we worked on the Hangouts last year?
Well, we did this, we did that.
Love it. Great stuff.
Hey, I did that to Bill. I got to do it to you.
It's quite all right, buddy. I can take it.
No. Why is this thing not changing over to the screens? Oh, because I'm the one showing it. As everybody knows, last year we've had a good year. The Tuesday night hangouts have gone very well, really. We've had Bill, the track planner, doing shows every other month. Miles Hale also had a show every other month where he was doing layout tours, and he has some really good shows there. Bill has really come up with some great topics on layouts.
Absolutely.
Also, what not to do, what to do, how they operate, and Miles's layouts. He has some really nice ones, very interesting layouts to really. Of course, Thursday night hangouts is a general topic hangout, and we've we have hit the topics between A and Z for sure on those shows.
Absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of people have asked questions. The hangouts seem to work really well. Well, especially, I mean, you have the topic-driven hangouts on Tuesday nights, so those are specific topics. And the Thursday night shows have worked out well because people have been able to just ask questions when they've had problems and get ideas on stuff like building, you know, scratch building, kit bashing, or just kit building. You know, plastic models, you know, what are good paints to use, stuff like that. We've discussed other people's problems they've had, you know, like wiring, why the turnouts didn't work exactly right.
That's always an issue. Get comments from people, Johnny's about turnout wiring. That's
Yeah,
a,
the a lot of people now are taking an interest in servos too,
hmm
and you know, a few times I've been going, yeah, almost on the trigger, you know, try to do an invite to this guy named Barry that runs the tech show. You know, try to get him in the hangout, but I know he's busy and has to go to bed early, so I have to leave him alone. But Barry's Tech Show has been another great one too. I mean, Barry's dove into JMRI some, and then he and his sidekick Mike, you know, both of them have gone into signaling and into wiring, and Andy's been in there, helped out with pickaxe. Arduino was your last show.
yep.
That turned out to be really good. That really perked up a lot of interest there.
Yeah, it did. That show went off really well. I think it was very well accepted,
Yeah, but
which is amazing because the Arduino is actually harder to do than the pickaxe by a little bit anyway, and it seemed to really catch everybody's interest because of the flexibility in using it. So
And the
yeah,
community behind it is the big plus.
yeah, exactly, Andy. Yeah.
yeah. I watched that show on the pickaxe, and I'm not a computer programmer, but then when I think it was Andy that was showing where you didn't have to be a programmer, there's a website or software that you could go to that basically you look to see what each module did and see pick the one that was going to do what you wanted, and you just clicked on it and it automatically wrote the code that you download to the pickaxe for it to operate
Yeah,
right.
that was the Blockly editor, and that actually is really nice because you literally grab the functions, snap them together in the order you want, set some values, and write it to the chip, and it's done. It's not like you have to write all these lines of code. It's
And
really nice.
like with the Arduino, there's so much software already out there for it that it's the same thing as you don't have to be a programmer to use Microsoft Word on your computer. It's somebody already wrote it.
Yeah,
It's the same thing
exactly.
with Arduino. You just download the software, run it, and Bob's your uncle or Doug or whoever, and ultimately the job gets done.
Exactly. That's the easiest thing about the Blockly piece because you really don't have to be a programmer. You learn a few simple commands how to write it out to your chip, how to plug your chip in, and then just study what the different modules do, like turn an output on or turn an output off, or turn it on for so long and turn it off again. So you start building a little simple logic in your head or on paper, and then you just snap the blocks together and go. So
Yeah, well, I didn't mean to turn this into another hangout.
yeah, you got to watch me, Andy.
But Johnny, there's got to be something that's said about Hangouts. It's an opportunity to people to engage in topics that normally would not come up on either YouTube videos or very specific topics and questions that come through on the Hangouts. It's a great opportunity to get involved in that and dig deeper, do a deep dive in some of the technology behind model railroading. Wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, definitely, and it's a place where you can ask specific questions, get specific help. Where, like you said, that kind of gets overlooked too. Of course, there's a time limit of what you can do in a YouTube video, so you have to,
Yeah, and
pick
even
and
if you
choose.
miss one Hangout, you can always pick up next week's Hangout and join in.
Oh yeah, yeah. The Thursday hangouts are open to any and everybody there. Yeah, we definitely want people to come in and ask questions. We always tell them if you got a webcam, they usually have built-in microphones on. Plug it into a USB, you're pretty much there.
Heck, I participate in the Hangouts without a camera.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if you don't have anything to show, yeah, you can certainly participate in the Hangouts with just a microphone on your computer.
Yeah.
You know, doesn't have to be anything fancy. You can get a cheap USB headset, and you're ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, what a cool way to, you know, if you got a burning question in your pocket or a bunch of questions, interact.
Yeah, and you can still screen share information without a camera. You know, so. So JD, what's been going on last year in our wonderful Emag that you and your great team of guys published for us?
Well, there's a lot that's going on with the Emag. It has been going on. But before I get into that, I do want to acknowledge the team behind the Emag.
Absolutely.
You know, I serve as the editor-in-chief. That means I get to put on a lot of different hats to make this thing happen. But I can't do it alone. There's a lot of guys behind the scene who sometimes I get this sense, you know, don't always get all the full credit that's deserved. And it's people like Blaine Mayfield, who's one of our key editors. Jack Hickaway, he started on the Emag when he was 14 and he's 17 now. And he's in Canada, you know. He's doing homework while we meet and discuss topics.
Wow.
And he also writes a column, Jack's Junction, in the Emag. And then we have Harry Haythorne. You know, he's our ambassador, and he's also submitting articles and a column as well called the UP Hub. And so what a great team. And we all work together seamlessly, and we get the job done. And these guys work, you know, countless hours behind the scene. You can't imagine the amount of hours they put in and work so well together. It's just amazing. I'm so happy and proud of these guys working very hard. So I do want to, you know, mention them and make sure that the people know there's a lot more going on behind the scenes in the Emag to get it out there. In terms of last year, you know, we started to sort of look at the Emag where we were. This was year number 2, 2016.
Yeah.
We just ended with the November issue. So, you know, 2 years of Emag, you know, that's to me is pretty good. But we want to make it, you know, the next 5 and so on. But, you know, we sort of looked at the Emag and we said, we want to up the quality even more. You know, the first year was great. People said, oh, you guys look very professional and all that, but we want to continue to evolve. And what that means is we try to listen to the community as much as possible. In fact, some of the topics in the year came from the Hangouts. It wasn't just, you know, out of the thin air. It's we were listening to what people were chatting about and talking about. One of the things that we do with the Emag is put together a theme, whether it's loosely coupled or tightly coupled. And by loosely coupled, I mean the articles may be about some of the cursory information on that theme. So we develop a theme, and then tightly coupled means we've got a lot of articles just heavily focused on that theme. We've changed the look and feel of the Emag. We've tried to do more larger pictures, increased the number of pictures per text. We've increased the size. And one more important thing that we've done is we've added columns. So you have some predictability as a reader, and you know you can look forward to increasing information from the writer. And so the columns that we have is, for example, Gino Sharp and his Gino's Corner. He's more about the weathering, dirt, rust, you name it, you know, building that gritty scene in a cheapest way possible, the least expensive way. He's a great go-to guy for that. And so we're lucky to have him write for us. Jack's Junction, which I mentioned, explores various different engines, either steam, electric, diesel. So we pick engines that are not commonly known out there or have some unique factors, and we explore that. And Jack goes into the engine's background, the manufacturing, the delivery, the usage, and he puts a stat sheet together for the engine. We also have UP Hub with Harry Haythorne, and this guy's a master of Union Pacific. You know, I can imagine him one day running Union Pacific. But he talks about in his column more about what's happening with Union Pacific, what's going on in the history of Union Pacific, what went on. So he explores different concepts from that perspective and focal point. He also writes other articles in the Emag as well. that are tied to a theme or not tied to a theme. We also have Bill Burnick, the track planner. I'm sure you guys are familiar with him. And he writes a column, which he also uses that some of that information shares on the Hangouts, I believe, and on the live show from time to time. And so we're very lucky to have him as well, and his knowledge on track planning and operations, which he's very, very, particular about certain ways and techniques. And in fact, if you go back and read all of his articles, you can practically assemble a book, an instruction manual on how to do operations and track planning. In essence, you can, you basically pick up his information and make it your own.
Well, that's something. It's funny you mentioned that, JD, because Newcastle Railroad Cohen is asking, is there going to be an operations issue theme next year? And Dave commented, need more narrow gauge in the Emag. So there's a couple possible ideas for you.
Great ideas. Absolutely. So we're going to take a look at the operation side later this year, or I'm sorry, 2017. That's up on the docket. And I'll come to what some of the other themes are. And yes, we do need more narrow gauge. But what we count on, it's a community magazine. And we count on the community to submit the articles and send us the information. We don't author the articles ourselves. But we can certainly explore and write to that. And our very own Andy Crawford right here writes food for thought article in which he's been slowly assembling throughout the year pieces of the puzzle and conversation around fine scale modeling, fidelity, the quality of modeling, quality of video production, and how do you get the information out. So he's been building that over time, a whole story. If you go back and read all the food for thoughts from Andy, you'll start to see a picture develop from that. And we're continuing that same track. So we want to explore different ideas from the community. So we look at the community to channel those to us. Like I said before, we do go look at the Hangouts and we look at the posts, what's going on, and that's how we pick up some of those ideas. Yeah, so narrow gauge is a great idea to focus on for the Emag, but we need to find people out there who are doing that and to submit content. When we put out a call, that's what we really need.
Yeah, there's a good thing is Newcastle Railroad Cohen here said he would write an article for the operations issue, and Lloyd from Hawks HO Layout says, if you want articles, could we get a heads up on the upcoming topics?
Yes. So what we're going to start doing is we're going to start putting together lists. Now, sometimes we have a topic in mind, but we can't pull the trigger on it because we just don't have the content. And if we put the theme out there too loosely, it won't make sense. So as we build material, sometimes we gather the material behind the scenes and we won't publish the articles right away. We will assemble them into a theme and we get it going. Right. So, yeah, so we're going to try our best to talk about some of the themes, and I actually have a list of themes that I want to talk about in a few minutes. But in essence, this year has been, we received a lot of good accolades, and we've been changing and moving forward with the Emag in different subtle changes here and there. But at the beginning of the year, we started with what we call the track planning issue. So where we publish a lot of the track plans from the community that have been done. We did an architectural theme around it, and even the cover reflected the architecture. Barry, do you mind if I share the cover of that?
No, go right ahead, JD.
Yeah, I was fixing to say, JD, if you had that, pop it up there, because I got you full screen right now.
Let me go ahead and share that.
Yeah, if you're talking about other topics, pop those up too.
Yeah, anything you want to share. There we go.
Okay, so this is the cover from the January 2016 issue. So we gave it a very architectural look because we wanted to make sure that people understood that track planning is a very important concept, particularly somebody coming into model railroading from the beginning. And just like my own experience started with, getting something, for the kids, if you will, and then working my way back in. And so you have to learn operations. You have to learn that. So, we're definitely going to focus issue on operations. And we had some fairly decent articles in here on track planning and various tracks. Let me see if I can slide real quickly to some of the track plans that we have. Yeah, this was the community track plan section, and we changed the layout to a landscape to better fit the track plans. And we even got a hand-drawn plan from Donnie, which I thought was really cool.
Absolutely.
To get something like that, because that's where a lot of the ideas begin, on paper, right? It doesn't begin with a computer a lot of times. It begins on paper. So it was important to put that right up front as the first track plan. And I thought it was really great. You know, we assembled the picture to look like a seamless track plan here, but I thought it was a great start to the rest of the issue. Here we have another one, track plan here, and
that's Chris Healy's, isn't it?
That's right. That's right. And he's gone through iterative changes to this, right? Since then. And that's the other
he
thing.
has made changes, a lot of changes to it, yeah.
Right. And you have to realize, I mean, this is a iterative process. This is a progressive process, right? Track plans just don't occur in a vacuum. You know, you think of different things and you modify them as you go along. So there's adjustments. And that's sort of part of the idea back here. And then we had, you know, good turnout. And of course, you can see a lot of the work has been done by the track planner for different people within the community. And so this is just an example of, you know, we want to feature something of people in the community. And so we look forward to the community to submit information to us. So here's a bunch of stuff here.
Oh, yeah, it was Troy's. That was Jim Langley.
Yeah.
Taki Hayward.
Taki Hayward. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's really coming along with his layout.
I'll give him
props right now.
What I'd like to do is eventually later in 2017 circle back and see what progress we've made and maybe report back on some of the progress from these track plans.
That's a fantastic idea, JD. Yeah, pick a select few and just touch base with them and see where they're at. That's a great idea.
Because you see the track plan in the magazine, and it's in a PDF file. I mean, you could, like Johnny said, you could view the Emag on your cell phone, your smartphone, your tablet. You could be sitting by the fireplace with a pipe in your mouth and looking at this on your tablet, right?
Oh, here we go with Christmas. What happened to the hot cider there, JD?
Well, you could throw that in too. It's whatever you want to make it, but the idea is you could and when we did the landscape view mixed in with the portrait view, we made sure that it worked on different devices. So we, do check this out. So there's a lot in here. You can go through and look through what other people in the community are doing. And the funny thing is, you can reach out to these people. Chances are you might find them on a Hangout.
Yeah, some of these people are definitely on Hangouts. Or they're very active in our communities on Google Plus and on Facebook.
Right.
And so don't everybody remember that. We have a YouTube Model Railroaders community on Google Plus, and we have YouTube Model Railroaders and YouTube Model Builders on Facebook. And we also have Genius Central Beltline. We have the Model Railroad Help and Share from Troy. So we got a lot of great communities out there that you people can share all of your information with and, ask questions and people come to answer them. So, yeah, feel free to join into the community. Just like JD said, we need people to author articles. You have something you'd like to see in there, mention it. It might be a good topic. We can find someone, or JD and his fantastic crew can take whatever you write and we will make it look nice and polished for you. And it will turn out beautiful in the Emag when it gets published. So don't be afraid that you don't think you can write. I can't write for nothing. JD made me look like a stellar author. So,
if you remember, Barry, you and I worked on your article on a Hangout, and we ended up putting together diagrams together.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? I mean, I literally work with you, a diagram for you while you were watching and saying, okay, that's going to go to, here's an idea. We can put it in a diagram and put it right in. I always say, you give us a piece of coal, we'll turn it into a diamond for you.
Absolutely. You will squeeze that thing till it shines nice and bright.
Well, we don't want the credit. We want you to get the credit.
Yes.
It's really about the community and people who are writing and willing to share the ideas. I think it's really, the applause kind of goes to them.
Yeah, and it should. I mean, the ideas and everything are theirs. It may be a few pretty word changes, how it's laid out, but that's the job of an editor.
I mean, you know, we started with articles, original issue from Bill Graham,
Yeah.
the host of this show. And, you know, we've always done, you know, good job, I think, with pictures and getting as much as possible. Even pictures that are not high resolution. We prefer high resolution, as high as you can get us. But if you don't worry. We'll make it look good.
Absolutely.
You know? So here's Jack's Junction, the introduction. This is what we started in the beginning of the year, some columns. And we introduced Harry's UP Hub. You can sort of see right here what that's all about. And then we started with the N scaler. We're still looking for more information on N scale because I think that's an under mentioned, you know, discussed scale. But in pockets of communities, you see this as a fairly popular scale, you know.
Oh, absolutely. I definitely see that all over the place. There's a lot of N scale modelers out there. So if you guys are N scale modelers, you know, share the information, you know, with JD, and he come up with some articles, some ideas, maybe some of the challenges you've had in scale modeling, and it'd be fantastic. We can get some articles put together with you and publish it out there.
Yeah. So, for example, you know, we took a picture. I'll give you a quick example here from Gino for his cover. So we took the picture and we turned it into a black and white, and he took this shot outside, and look how great this looks. Yep. You know, and it makes the author look great. You know, that's our job. That's what we'd like to do. And but in any case, talk about, you know, listening to the community. This issue, the second issue, which we do bi-monthly, so that means every other month there's 6 issues for the year. So this is the March 2016 issue. This photograph was taken by Jack Hickaway, you know, our 17-year-old editor, and we loved it. And we just looked at it and said, yes, this has got to be the cover. So this whole topic about signals came from Hawk's HO layout and his discussion in the community about signals, his questions. And this what drove this whole issue. And that started the spark. We tried to cover as much as possible. And in the Emag, I kind of look at it this way. We can't cover everything, but we tried to cover pieces or vignettes of information that could be assembled from cover to back as a holistic picture. So articles tend to fit together one after the other, and that's what we shoot for. You know, sometimes we reach out to the author and say, could you write this way?
Yeah, and part of what we did with this too is that we continued this throughout the year with discussions on JMRI and signaling and everything in the tech show hangout. So we kind of spread this whole discussion of the issues of signals all the way into the fall of last year, or this year, I should say. So, you know, it's
I mean, this is not a simple topic to discuss.
No, not at all.
Thorough, you know, discussion over time, and particularly for people who are starting out, you know, this can be fairly confusing. I mean, including myself, you know. So I learn as I go as well. When we see articles, and I and the other guys on the Emag get to edit them and read them front to back several times, mind you. We learn as we go as well. So, you know, maybe I'm a little greedy and I'll say, hey, write an article about this so I can learn too.
Yeah, well, yeah, sure.
We all do. We all learn as we go. So, you know, here we put together, for example, additional resources, additional places you could find information, click a link away. And so here's, you know, Lloyd's article right here. And we put that together and what he's working on. And then our friend Andy wrote this because I asked Andy, I said, you know, we need some more initial information too, some basics on signals that people can use this as a reference. And so Andy did an amazing job of putting together a wonderful article on this and talking about the different types of signal and history on it. And how do you model it? Where do they go? So you can see scenic value, operating value. So there was a discussion of operations in this as well. It was folded into the article. And
my goal a lot of times is to try to eliminate the fear for people a lot of times. Don't be afraid of any of this stuff in the hobby. No matter what you do, that's the value of the community here, is that you don't have to be afraid. Things that I know nothing about or have never done, I can come and communicate and share about it. But signals are complicated, but you don't have to be afraid of it. That was my whole premise behind that brief article.
That's a great point, Andy, because one of the things that I've learned over the last 2 years working on the Emag, you do have to experiment. You do have to take that risk, and try something that you've seen others do, or figure out your own way of doing it. Not, any one way is not better than the other. There's a preferred way that people like to do things as a common thing among a community or a region. There's nothing that says you can't try it. You can't read something in here or find out something on the Hangouts or on the live show and, say, let me try this and make it my own. And, when you make it your own, send us an article.
Absolutely.
Or talk about it on the Hangout, or both. So this was, a great issue for us. And it also marked the fact that we were, now going into a lot more pages. But we're not worried about that. This is a digital media, so we can put in as much information as we make sense. So here's an example of UP Hub, and look at the amount of detail that Harry went into, where you get the parts, and so where do you find information like this? What part number it goes where, and where to buy it? And here's the links right where you can find these parts. And so, he's amazing with that. And here's another one that was fairly technical article, but it was written in such a neat way by Steve Uranix that you could digest and learn very quickly. Another technique of putting signals together. So this was, a fairly informative issue, in my opinion. I mean, look at this, right? So we, diagrams and all.
And if anyone's interested on learning a lot of deep dive stuff on prototype signals, beginning last fall, I want to say of 2015 into the middle of this year, Bruce Chubb, the man behind CMRI, wrote an extensive series of articles in Railroad Model Craftsman. So if you want to do a deep dive on everything you want to know about prototype signaling, there's nothing in there about how to wire your layout or how to use JAMRI or hook up, boards. It's about how the real signal's operated. So it depends upon what you're interested in, but that was a fantastic series of articles, and we used some of that information when we were doing the Hangouts on signaling as well. So it's a great source, along with our Emag here. You hit pretty much any possible topic you want to learn about signaling.
Right. And, if you see this here, talk about operations. If you go back and read the Track Planner's articles, you will see operations weaved into that articles, his series, all the way, in every single one. And so, I asked Bill to focus on, signals, and he did. He took the operation aspect. Well, the other point is that these link back to the YouTube channels of the authors or their websites, or both, or Facebook pages. So you can follow through these orange links. Anytime you see this orange, there's a link there. And there's even a YouTube video associated with this from Bill. So you could see not just the information that's captured in the Emag, okay, because there's only so much you can write about something in a single issue, but you can then follow through on the links and do some more research, whether it's a video, whether it's web pages, etc. So it just doesn't stop with just the article. It should go beyond that, and that's why we're very particular about putting links whenever there's one available.
Yeah, absolutely, because that ties our whole community together through the Emag.
Yeah, and so these are jumping points to learn more. That's our hope when putting together the issue. We try to present the story from end to end, and vignettes and highlights of information that we can. But at the same time, the expectation is that you could use this and find the links in the articles and just go ahead, click on them, and go from there as well. I'll run through some of the things that we've accomplished. We focused on G scale and garden railroading in this issue, in the May 2016 issue. And so we got some really good information in there. And you can certainly check this issue out as well. And then we went on and we focused on artwork, because I've really not seen much information on model railroading plus art. We're all interested in trains, right? That's why we modeled them. We're interested in scenery. We're interested in things. But there's an artistic aspect to that as well, right? And so we said, okay, let the artwork come out too. So Tom Convoy, for example, who's helped us out as editor as well for a while on the Emag, he put together this beautiful painting, and we chose that as a cover. And there's some beautiful artwork in here that's highlighted throughout. Let me stop there so you can see that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have from Chris Williams. He's a painter, and he did some really amazing work for a lot of people out there. From their photographs, he'll take a photograph and convert it to a painting. And so we featured a handful of his paintings in here. And we talk a little bit about what that is and who it's done for. And in fact, he did this one for
yes, for Bill. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's his Valley Pasta, right?
Yeah. And that's Bill sent them a photograph of his layout, and he took that and converted it into a painting. And so, and here's a local artist in my region, and and same here, Harry focused on Howard Fogg. So learn a little bit,
yes,
right? So we brought that in, that was great. But anyway, that was the artist edition. So we explored that as a topic. And then we got into Union Pacific itself. We thought, what are some of the big railroads out there now? Well, UP is one of the biggest, right?
Yeah.
And
JD, can I interrupt for a second?
Sure.
Barry?
Yes, sir.
You want to try and do the giveaways real quick? We're already past 30 minutes here.
Yeah, let's do the giveaways real quick. Just let me know when the slides pop up. Johnny, are you going to read? You want to read them?
Yeah, I got them.
Okay. All right. Take it over, Johnny.
All righty. We got giveaway number 1. That is the 4-pack of HO or N-scale oak and pine trees from Long Shadow Models. Yeah, this website's right there. Those trees are great looking trees. I tell you what, he does a fantastic job on them. You can get those in HO and N scale. And then our next giveaway is going to be Dave's Decals from Dave's Decals Mall and Decals and Stuff. Your choice of 2 sheets, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 sets or smaller, and that's www.daveart.net. One word, Daveart, DAVART.net. And I've looked at his website and his decals. He has got some great decals there. I really like the older ones, about the mid 1940s, 50s, and all those are really good. Then also we've got the punch plate bridge. That's from Central Valley Mall Works Incorporated. It's a 150-foot HO scale or N scale. It says HO on here, but they also do an N scale 150-foot punch plate bridge kit. We've had a couple of people in the community. They've got those kits and built them, and they are really nice looking bridges. And that's at www.cvmw.com. The Central Valley Mall Works Incorporated. And the last giveaway is Road Striping Kit. That's from Highways and Byways Arts and Crafts Store. It's a road striping kit. A number of people in the community also have gotten these. Gino uses them on his layout on the streets, and He has had numerous pictures of them. You can weather them. They do weather just fine. There's not a problem with weathering those if you're putting them on a road that's seen a lot of traffic. That's a road striping kit, a package of vinyl strips for your mile railroad. That's highwaysandbyways.com. And we're back
Thank you
to
very
you,
much,
Dave.
Johnny.
Let me get back over here on the right one. This is my first time to be running all this many slides. Uh-oh.
All right.
Hang on.
So
Yeah,
shortly we'll be setting up the entry for the giveaway. So we'll get back to talking a little bit with JD about what's coming up for next year.
we've got some Q&As there, too, if you want to hit those real quick.
Yeah, let's see what we got here.
A couple of people were asking about how to enter articles. That's on the YouTubeModelBuilders.com website. Go to the Emag, and a pop-down comes down. You have a place there to enter your articles in or communicate with JD about articles.
Yep.
Yeah, they can send me an email at YTMBEMAG. YTMB stands for YouTube Model Builders, and then Emag, YTMBEMAG at gmail.com.
Yeah. Also, a couple of people have been asking about Big Bill. He did not transform into Barry's twin.
Wow.
Bill had a pressing engagement tonight, so he couldn't make the show. But he is live and well and kicking. And after these little snits that I've done about him at the beginning of the show just now, I'm sure I'll probably get a phone call sometime tomorrow. What in the heck do you think you're doing?
Absolutely.
But Big Bill is he is well and doing good.
So, JD, what's coming up, my friend, in the Emag for next year? And then after that, we can talk about what's going to be going on with Hangouts next year.
Yeah, so upcoming in the Emags, I kind of want to make a point. I think Hawks mentioned letting people know what's happening in terms of the theme. What I would say is not even worry about that, because write what you want to write about, and we will get it in there. We can even build a theme around it sometimes. That has happened before. And so, for example, information from the last issue was built around because of Ed Traxler's work. And
yes.
It came about.
That was a fantastic issue.
Yeah. So, that the whole ideas are born from what you guys submit out there. And so I would say, don't worry about the theme. Just send us what you want to write, and we will work with you to get it in there. And I can't promise it's be the upcoming issue always, but we will do our best. And sometimes we line it up with what we think, we want to produce down the road. But having said that, here's some ideas that we're working on now. For the January issue, we're working on rust, dirt, and grime as a theme. So if you have articles on rust, I'm very much interested, by the way, on the background of rust and how it plays in the nature of things and how it relates to our modeling. What we do with rust makes a whole lot of difference, and dirt and grime too, and how things turn out to reality. That whole concept that Andy started with simulated reality versus fidelity, these are some of Andy's words that he's talked about in Food for Thought. And if you think about textures, the last issue was about craftsmanship and textures and color tonality. And one of the words that's on the cover says fidelity. Well, that's Andy Crawford's terminology. He and I discussed, and it's in the Food for Thought. And that was important to put that on the cover because it sets up the theme for the January issue. And when we're looking at rust, dirt, and grime, that's a tranche, if you will, of the whole craftsmanship. So we wanted to focus on that. So I would love to get articles on your work, and I'm looking for pictures right now for the. There's two sections in the Emag. There's one called the Pick 3 where we highlight your YouTube channel, and so if you want your YouTube channel highlighted in the Pick 3 section, tell us about it. Send me an email at ytmbemag@gmail.com, and then there's the community collage where I put together pictures from the community, and you submit 15, 20, 30 pictures, and we'll make a nice collage out of it and tell you about tell the community about your work and your YouTube channel and your Facebook page, whatever have you, and we'll put the link in there. So I'm looking for pictures for the January issue right now. So if you've got stuff around dirt, rust, grime, send us all the dirty pictures. So we're looking for that. Some of the other themes that we're working on, model railroad photography, taking close-up pictures. That's something that's been on the back burner for a while, but it takes time to put all this stuff together because I want to get the right people. And if you've got, a zen for taking close-up photography, submit the pictures. We will do a whole layout. If you remember the last issue, we did like a 14 to 16 page picture essay for Ed Traxler's work. And we could put something like that together with your work, particularly on model railroad photography. I think that would be great to see some really good pictures from folks around in the community. Passenger trains and modeling passenger trains on the layout, the kind of space that's required, the different lines to model, some historical lines. For example, the Zephyr, California Zephyr. That's one of those ones. El Capitan, right? So that's another idea that we're working up. We're also looking at concept of 3D models, applying 3D modeling using SketchUp and 3D printing. We explored a little bit of 3D printing in the artist edition with Chris Healy and his work. So we want to focus a little bit more attention on that and electronics issue. So we're looking at that down the road as well. So, based off of what you guys are talking about in the Hangouts with the Arduino and, and those kinds of things. And what are the electronics that are used out there most commonly, whether it's from servo motors to control units, controlling different signals, whatever have you. We want to sort of dive into that and explore that.
Well, we're going to be focusing on a lot of that next year on the Hangouts, JD.
Yeah.
At least the tech show side of things, we do have a show coming up on 3D printing with a friend of mine named Ken Hurley, and he's a great user of SketchUp and can really show off what you can do with 3D printing. And we will be doing more on simple electronics, basic electronics for model railroading, rather than what we've been now. We've been doing some deep, overarching, very technical subject. We're going to go a little more basic, and this is how you can add a lot of depth to your railroad with simple electronics.
Yeah, and part of the idea here is also, as you mentioned, you can sum up a lot of this stuff in the Emag too.
Exactly.
So you can go back and watch the videos of the Hangouts for the MR Tech Show, for the Thursday night Hangouts, and you can go through that. But you can also go back to the reference material that's in the Emag. So one of the objectives, we've talked about, Andy and I have spoken about this in quite some length, is integration of this content. What you see in the Hangouts and what you see on the live show and what you see in the Emag sort of reflects a complete picture for the community and more involvement of the community within these venues. And I think that's important, So certainly looking at narrow gauge and looking at operations is definitely those ideas. They're great ideas that are absolutely, important to us to explore.
And they drive each other anyway, like the signals. I mean, nearly all the Emag articles were because the community had been talking about that particular subject a bit. Like signaling was something that every single Thursday Hangout and a whole lot of the regular Hangouts, a little bit of talk was done on signaling for a while. And then, enough material was put together for the Emag. So if you guys are seeing something in the Hangouts that's attracting your attention or a repeated subject, then putting some material together on that, writing it up for the Emag, just is a natural fit, I think.
Right.
Absolutely.
So, what I would say to the people watching the show, send us the material. Don't be shy. If you know something or have a technique, I personally wouldn't worry about, what somebody's thinking about it, because we're going to make you look good. And you feel good when you share stuff, right? I mean, it makes you really feel good. And plus, you get to see yourself published too, That's another win-win for you guys. So if you submit something, it's, we'll happily take it. We'll work with you one-on-one. We'll get on a Hangout or by phone. I, talked to a lot of people written in the past. on the phone. And Andy, you and I do that all the time about your articles, right? Barry, you and I did that as well. And so we'll work with you hand in hand to make it happen. We'll make it look good.
Well, that's what I said in the chat for the show. I was talking to those guys over there, Summit, and I said I basically consider, as I've said to you, JD, I basically consider my article co-written every month, because me and every other month, me and JD bounce ideas off each other several months in advance of upcoming articles, and we bounce ideas off and work together to get themes together. They really will work with anybody. All you need is the good idea, and getting the material turned into something that's a finished, polished product that will make you look like a novelist. They will do that hard work for you. So it's don't fear that you need a PhD in literature to put together a good article. You just need a good idea and a little content.
What you need is just the heart to share.
Exactly.
Yep.
And JD and his team will definitely help you and make sure that everything comes out perfectly for you. So we're getting near the end of the show here. So we do want to talk a little bit about what's coming up for the Hangouts next year. We're just about to publish the schedule for the first 6 months of the year. So, John, if you can give a brief rundown of what Miles and Bill will be working on for next year. And then Andy and I will announce our new plan for the other Hangouts we'll be working on.
Sure can. I'm just going to give out the first 3 months and leave everybody with a teaser on that. But starting out in January, we're going to start out with Bill, the track planner. And he's going to have a new host on his show. That's going to be Big Bill. It's going to be hosting a January show. So y'all get to see more of Big Bill next year, not just the Saturday night live show. He's going to be doing a few of the Hangouts, hosting those. Then the 24th of January, Barry and Mike are going to start talking about lights, lighting buildings, streets, and whatever else Barry can come up with in the light of his head. But then February is the one we're really looking at. We've got a new show coming up, and we're calling that the Fine Scale Build. And that's going to be Miles Hale, Barry, and Andy. They're going to be doing that show there. It's going to be something new and different. I think everybody should really like that. Barry and Andy are going to talk more detail about that in just a little bit. I'm going to let them have the limelight on that one. Andy was the one that came up with the show. Appreciate it. And he's got some really good ideas for that show too. Then for those that were interested, talking in the comments, and February is the month you really want to look at if you're interested in 3D printing, because that's going to be the Mike and Barry Tech show there. They will have a guest on there, Ken Hurley, I believe.
Yep, Kent Hurley, yep.
Yep, that's going to be February 21, the fourth Tuesday of February. He'll be on there talking about 3D printing, showing off a few things. And March, we'll come back up with the track planner again. I will host that show. The 28th of March, that's going to be the Fine Scale build again. And what we're doing is the Fine Scale, we've picked a kit already. I'm going to let Andy and Barry have it in just a second, but we have a kit already picked out that we're going to do. We'll probably do maybe 2 months, 3 months on that. What we want the viewers to do is to let us know what you would like to see for the rest of the year. We have 3 kits, in mind, and we are going to present those 3 kits during the shows. But if you have something else, we do not want to get super complex on the builds here.
Yeah.
Barry said he'd like to try and grow a little bit of hair back on his head, but
I'm way past that point, buddy.
But anyway, think everybody's going to be interested in the fine scale bill and really will enjoy that. And I'm going to let Andy and Barry take it now and explain just exactly why why I call it fine scale. What does that mean, Andy?
Well, before we hit that, let me let everybody know that I've turned on the giveaway page. So let me go back there, and I'll take a quick peek, give you the password.
I put up the screen now so you can explain how to get to it to win.
There you go. So if you go to YouTubeModelBuilders.com, and you can go to YouTube Model Builders, and you'll see the live show giveaway entry form at the bottom of the little pull down, and that'll take you to the entry form. The password is Cubs, CUBS, all lowercase. Go put your information there, and then you will get picked for one of the possible giveaways. So just make sure, again, the password is Cubs, CUBS, as in Chicago Cubs. So Andy, talk to us about the fine scale build and the things that you and I have discussed about what we'd like to do with this program, since our community has been asking for more hands-on. So we decided to take a try at it, see what might be interesting to people.
Absolutely. And I definitely want to reiterate, because it's so important, and Johnny worded it so well, that this is community driven. And just like JD said about the Emag, it's about community driven. And I'm a community member first and foremost, value the community and hang out in many of the hangouts to and what most of them and I want to see is more real world stuff happening so that we can learn from that experience. And we're trying to do that in the electronics show, more hands-on, more actual follow these steps to get this result. But there's been a lot of talk and a lot of modelers in our community here that are doing paint chipping effects and static grass and high quality trees was a big subject for the better part of a year, it seemed like. So there's a lot more desire for hands-on, and it's an obvious thing to do. And then also many of us are pushing to increase our modeling skills. And one of the couple big fears in the hobby, along with electronics and some of these other things that are a natural fear, is these craftsman style constructions. And I think craftsman is a word that's somewhat used inappropriately, but craftsman more refers to what skills are required or tools or techniques, as opposed to actually what the results are. And so what I wanted to show, what I really wanted to, the idea I had that I thought the community would take to, and it's just basically what I wanted to see, was this high fidelity modeling where you could get something that was something approximating a picture or looking like the real thing to some degree. And so we really want some feedback from the community as we started in February. We'll do this first one that's a smaller kit. We'll do it in 2 or 3 shows. And then based on the feedback, we can figure out how far to go with the next one. I would like to eventually do one as a small diorama where we could, approach static grass, a little bit of water, a piece of pavement as a driveway and such. But I want it to be very hands-on. We have all talked about it. We all see the same vision of that. And I use that word in all my Emag articles too, is this big vision of what we're trying to get is hands-on, community driven to try to give you the techniques and stuff and different techniques. So me, Miles, and Barry are going to attempt a different technique for most of the things we do. So we show you there's not a right way to do things. There are some wrong ways to do things in the hobby, but there's no right way to do it. There's a dozen or more right ways. And we're going to try to show you some of those ways that have worked for us and that you can adapt and use some of those techniques to build other structures. And they're wood structures. I'm not saying we wouldn't do styrene or hydrocal kits later, especially if the community seemed attracted to us doing those. But I think wood is one of the things that a lot of modelers are afraid of, and I don't think it's a warranted fear. Wood is, I think, more forgiving than any other material to work with, and I just love working with it, and I'm really looking forward to doing that as the community effort that we're doing to kind of assuage people's fear of it. show how easy and simple it is to work with just a few, there's a few key techniques you need to pick up to be comfortable with wood and have good success.
I totally agree with you there, Andy. I mean, I've always mentioned to people that I was always afraid that I'd never figure out how to do water. But then I took a class on it from, Dave Ferrari himself at an expo, and it got me over my fear. And now that I look back at it and I've watched these DVDs and such, it's really, you're right. Like you said, it's an unwarranted fear, but sometimes you just have to stretch out a little bit. And you'll be surprised. I've now been building wooden kits when I go to the Fine Scale Expo every year, every 18 months now. I come back with 3 or 4 buildings that I've built. Some of them built in a few hours, at the show. So it can be done.
I buy wood kits when I'm out on the road. I'll take a small wood kit. And when I went to the NMRA, I was up there a few days early and did some work. And I went by some of the local hobby shops and kind of looked, and I bought a branch side trades laser art kit, a garage, and I put it together in the evening setting there. They're just as easy to work with as anything. They go together as fast or faster. And you can do techniques with those that you can't do with a styrene structure, like pill paint. Right. Some of these weathering effects are just difficult, not impossible. People do exceptional work with styrene kits, and I've looked at Modeler Man Mike's videos. Who brought me to this community was by finding his videos on YouTube. He's exceptional with styrene
for this community.
Yep, he did most of us, of course, and his work with styrene is absolutely incredible. But wood has some innate characteristics that make it just very conducive to doing weathered structures, to build paint and age structures, and that's a big attraction of the hobby these days is getting that weathered effect. And if you want high fidelity, if you want something that approximates the real world or a picture to a decent degree, and I'm actually modeling off a picture. In our first show, I'm going to show you a picture of the building that I'm using this kit. I'm going to modify it slightly, and I'm using this kit to approximate that building. But if you're trying to approach something realistic, weathering and the effects of Mother Nature are critically important to capture, and wood is just a really good platform for those things. You just don't have to be afraid of it. And again, we all desperately want the community feedback as to what you like, what we should do better, what you're interested in, because I really look forward to doing a kit that Barry was talking about in the future, if the community is up for that.
Absolutely, yeah.
That wood that has an interior. I really want to do one with an interior and do it as a full diorama with a street in front of it. But we wanted to take on a small project to begin with of probably 3 shows that we could kind of fine tune the process of multiple of us. And all 3 of us are going to be building. You're not going to get to see our lovely faces on camera. This will be no talking heads show. This is cameras down and everybody's to work through the show.
Talking hands. That's like we said, the community's been asking and asking for more hands-on. So not only will the Craftsman show, or the Fine Scale Bill, I should say, we'll be doing that, but also we will focus the tech show on more hands-on electronics. Like I said, simpler electronics. Like the first show, we're going to start out introducing different methods of lighting. I have some tools and show you how to make gooseneck lights. And the goal is you can take these techniques and then like the building that we're going to do in the Fine Scale Build episodes. And like Andy mentioned, we talked about several different kits. I think the other one that we were discussing was the Bar Mill Saloonist Tavern, right? Because that's a little bit more complex of a building. So we may go to that depending upon the feedback from the community after we do the first kit. So Andy, can you give us the info on what the first kit, in case anybody would like to buy the kit and build it along with us as we make this?
Yeah, it's the BTS, or Better Than Scratch. They're a great company that come with exceptional detail parts. And Johnny's got that one up on screen. It's their first class kits. They're easy to build, but they come with really good detail, and they're a great kit to get your feet wet. And also, not just simple and get your feet wet, but they also come with a lot of details like HO scale doorknobs that really let you see where you can go with this stuff. And they're easy to modify, as I'll show you with mine that's going to match a prototype structure that I need for that corner of my layout.
Also, Andy, real fast, is the number of this kit is 27654. That's a BTS kit, and the number on it is 27654. And I know my camera's a little blurry.
Yeah, C&O section house.
Yeah.
It's based off a real C&O standard section house design, but they were also really, really common throughout U.S. prototype railroads, especially in the East. But they're not that far removed from Santa Fe and other Western road section house designs. It's a simple kit that we can do at a few shows. Also about community involvement. So not only do we want feedback, but what we're really, really trying to do is to use this as an engagement tool. So what I mean by that is I would love it if some of you guys would go buy this kit or similar kits and build it along with us. Show your work in the G Plus community, post pictures of your work so that we can see some of it. And we hope to highlight some of your work in the next show. After you've done a technique, we can highlight that on the next show and ask you a couple questions about what you did and what you used and how you did it, so that it's not just us, but this is community driven, and we're about giving back to the community, but we want to give the community their chance to give back on what has worked for them as well, so that this sharing of information, just like the Hangouts. What's beautiful about the Hangouts is that it's not just the magazine. The magazine has a great part too, but the Hangouts have this just unbelievable feature in that it's bi-directional. We can both give and receive. So if you guys will build this kit or a similar kit or a wood kit along with us and share your techniques, we would love to show off your work on live recorded shows and possibly bring you on to mention something about which part you used and how it worked, so that we can have this back and forth as we go through this kit and then future kits, going forward.
Yeah, and that's like Andy said earlier, why we picked this kit, because it's a fairly straightforward kit. But I mean, there's similar kits like this, like you said, it's a section house. But companies like Bar Mills make small sheds, just four-sided structure, just like this. But they're smaller. The kits are a little bit cheaper. But everything that we're going to show in the build series, you could be doing the same exact thing. You could, I mean, I've built little buildings that were like 2 inches square. So it's the techniques are the same. You can do what you want with the methods we're going to show you for finishing the walls, assembling it, doing the roofing. So then down the road, we will, like Andy said, we will look to do something where we have a diorama at the end to show scenery techniques around the building. So, but give us feedback.
And to learn things, you have to invest some time or somebody or some equation of those two. You can go to school and learn things. You can buy books and learn things. You can do things like that. But if you'll buy a couple wood kits or Branchline Trades laser art kits, I believe is the one that I like so well. They sell a little 4-pack of sheds. Also, Bar Mills. Yep. They sell a little 3 or 4 pack of little sheds. It's a $25 something box of multiple kits that you can buy and try each of these small techniques out on. Usable all over your layout, these little small sheds that, they're part of the thing that I think is missing on a lot of our model railroads, is that we put the houses and we put the big things, the structures and the trains and the trees, but all the sheds and little outbuildings, the dog houses and details are what really make a layout look like people live there. And so they're valuable too. And you can try each of the techniques that we're going to show you on each of those structures. And for $20 or $25 in a few hours time watching the shows, you could really pick up and try quite a few techniques and find out which ones you like. Because like I said, and a few people have said in the chat over here, is that there's 1,000 ways to do something. And it's not that there's a right or wrong way necessarily. It's what is the right way for you. What works with the way you like to work. It gets the results that you're looking for, or for the particular building or era or location that you're modeling. So you got to try a few things, and it's going to cost you a couple kits. Although I started building my first wood kit a couple years ago, I've built 25 or 30, 20, something like that for this layout. And none of those would I consider scrapped. I've used every one of those, but my skills have improved as I've went on. And the biggest lesson learned is the one I want everybody to learn is there's nothing to be afraid of with it. It's not hard, and mistakes are easy to fix. And every one of us make mistakes. And I want to show some of that too. I want to make mistakes and show you guys how we correct them as part of the show too. So.
Yeah, and because that's something you just mentioned here with the mistakes is Sparky 107 talked to us. He touched one wood kit, added paint, and it curled up, so I go plastic. There's something. Learning how to deal with that, how to help prevent that, and everything is part of what we're going to show. Because yes, you're right. You apply like a water-based acrylic paint to a wood kit on one side, it will curl.
Or fix it. You can also fix most things. There are things that you could do to a plastic kit that are really hard to restore from, that you could damage the detail, etc., with too much glue in certain places, for example. There is very few things that you could do to a wood kit that it is not repairable.
Yeah, exactly.
Very forgiving.
So we're going
Andy, I got a quick
sure, go ahead, JD.
thought on this. First point you made was absolutely amazing. I mean, it's a very interactive environment, the Hangouts.
Yes.
So I'm so much looking forward to watching this show with the hands-on. But what I would love to see follow on is somebody write an article on their experience for building it, so we can publish their perspective in the Emag. I would love to see that.
I would too. And as I told you, I absolutely need to summarize the show or a couple shows that precede an Emag. I want to write up some of those techniques and get that information from Barry and Miles and Johnny about what we've done and summarize them. It's going to be hard to capture an hour and a half show,
right,
and write it, but just some brief summary and some pictures. But if we could get, the goal is not for us to present something, just for us to present something that you guys watch for its entertainment value or learning value, but also to get you guys to do it. So if we could get people writing Emag articles about this too, that would be.
Yeah, because it's the interactive part that I'm very excited about. People can build along while you guys are doing it. You're going to show 2 or 3 different techniques for doing the same kit, I believe, right?
Yes.
And then you get different results from different people trying those techniques, and to share that, I think would be just great. Having that, capture that in an Emag and capture that as a summary of some of the techniques and what some of the experience aspect was for somebody. And so if they can write an article on that, their experience of going through this, what they learned, what the challenge was, and what they saw as an opportunity to expand their knowledge on, I would love to share that, from an article from somebody.
Absolutely.
With photos, of course.
Also, these guys have been asking, and yes, there will be at the beginning of each one of the builds a list of what paints and materials we're using, glues, what tools will be used in the builds. And to answer Tony Marino's question, we've been announcing it was a BTS kit. So all you had to do is just do a search on the C&O sectional house, and BTS would come up first.
Yes, their website is btsrr.com. And you just look up for this, the C&O sectional house. And the new numbers.
And it is available in different scales, N scale, HO, and O scale.
Yep.
And it's relatively inexpensive, but you don't have to buy just this kit. I would recommend starting with a small, square, rectangular structure for your first one going out. Buying one of those that has 3 or 4 kits in it from Barbells or others, or Branchside Trades is not a bad idea. But if you want to participate in the build along with us, just some relatively small wood kit that you like.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Well, gentlemen, it's time to call our giveaway. So we are ready to go here. And let me go to pick winners.
You want me to run through them one more time, or?
Yeah, why don't you, Johnny, and then we'll pick the winners.
All right. Giveaway number 1 is going to be the 4-pack of HO or N scale oak or pine trees from Long Shadow Mall Trees. You can tell I'm not used to this. Dave's Decals from Malls, Decals, and Stuff. Your choice of 2 sheets. That's www.davart.net. Dave's Decals. He's got some really nice decals here,
Oh,
I'm telling you.
absolutely.
And then we've also got the punch plate bridge from Central Valley Mall Works Incorporated. That's 150 foot HO scale or N scale. I know it says HO scale here, but they do have it in N scale also. Punch plate bridge kit. That's www.cbmw.com. And giveaway number 4 is the road striping kit from Highways and Byways Arts and Crafts Store. They have a great striping kit. A lot of people like those. They're weather very well, so when you're weathering your road up, they also take the weathering too. That's highwaysandbyways.com.
Alrighty. So we have to do a quick refresh here, and then, yep, we are good. Let me go over and pick winners. All right. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Okay. Giveaway number 1. The fine 4-pack of oak and pine trees from Bob Lacey of LongShadowModelTrees.com is Louis Meese. So congratulations, Louis. We will be contacting you and letting the vendor know your information so that he can get your trees to you. And giveaway number 2 from our friend Dave at davart.net with Dave's Decals. That is Steve Constantino. So congratulations to Steve there.
Yeah, he just joined the community today too.
Oh, look at that. Perfect.
Well, I'm the one who approved them in there.
Nice. Beautiful. And giveaway number 3 is the wonderful HO scale or N scale. In this case, he picked HO. Punch plate bridge kit from Central Valley Model Works, and it is our friend Lloyd Henchy. So congratulations, Lloyd. And then the final giveaway of the wonderful road striping kit from Highways and Byways, our friend John Howard, is Thomas Gazior. So, folks, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, congratulations.
Congratulations. You shall all receive at least one model railroad gift for Christmas. So I want to thank everybody for a wonderful show. Lots of great comments and everything tonight. We had a great audience. Johnny, thank you for filling in for hosting since Bill was unavailable tonight.
No
JD,
problem.
thank you for participating and talking about the Emag for this year and next year. Andy, my friend, thank you for all the work you contributed this year for all the tech shows with Mike and myself and occasionally Chris Healy.
Just give it a small bit back. I've got so much out of the community, and I keep.
That's right.
So I put a little back.
So it's kind of funny. For next year, we're going to amp up what we're going to do with the fine scale build of the buildings, but I'm going to take the tech side and reverse it and bring it down to simpler, more basic electronics. So part of the lighting and everything I'm going to show you, we eventually will turn into some tech show episodes on using some simple electronics to control the lighting in your building as well. So that's to come later on in the year, next year. So stay tuned for everything that's going on next year with the YouTube Model Builders. We'll be back with a live show with our Emag in January, right, JD? And then the Hangouts on Thursdays and the Tuesday night show with Bill and Miles, and with the new fine scale model build series, as well as the tech show with related topics. So everyone, I want to thank you. Merry Christmas to the entire community from YouTube Model Builders. Johnny, we are done.
We're done. Well, I just want to add one little thing. That's to go to YouTubeModelBuilders.com. There you can find all the schedules for the Tuesday shows, the live show, and the Emag. Be sure and sign up for that. JD and all of his guys will greatly appreciate it. And like Barry said, Have a good Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you all.